Welcome to Your Body, Mind, and Spirit, the podcast where we explore the connections between health, wellness, personal growth, and spiritual transformation. Brought to you by Your Journey to a Better You. Start your journey to removing blocks and habits that are keeping you from living your best life today at yourjourneytoabetteryou.com.
Today our guest is Reiki Master Mark Johnson. Mark received his Level 1 and Level 2 attunements in 2014, after which he volunteered at a nursing home and at the VA hospital. He achieved his Usui Master level in 2015, Shodan level in Jakidan Reiki in 2017, and became a certified medical Reiki Master in 2019. Inspired to work with cancer patients, he worked in an oncology department providing Reiki at a hospital from 2017 to 2023. Hi, Mark. Welcome. I am so happy to have you here. I'm really excited because you and I talked recently about some of the stuff that you have done in your experience in working in hospital settings, and I'm really excited to get that information out to our listeners and viewers. So one of the first things I want to ask you, for our listeners and viewers who are not familiar with Reiki, when you encounter someone who's never heard of it before, how do you describe Reiki to someone?
Yes. Hi, Linda. Reiki is an energy healing technique that it promotes relaxation, reduces stress and anxiety. It's through gentle touch, or you can hover slightly above the body with your hands. It's a non-invasive complementary therapy. I don't refer to it as an alternative. Especially in a hospital setting, it is not an alternative to true medicines, but it's complementary. It can help your body relax and receive the medicine. It kind of like gets your body in the right frame, so to speak, to receive the medicine to help you heal. Reiki is in over 800 hospitals throughout the country, so it's out there, in various forms. I happen to be associated with the oncology unit at a hospital.
Yeah. Yeah. I like to say that it helps bring, I'm also a Reiki Master, as you know, but our listeners don't. And, I like to say it helps bring our body into balance so that it can help with our natural healing as well. So I think the natural healing and the medicine that comes together then, like, especially if you're working in a hospital setting where you're treating someone who's has an illness that they're also getting medicine for, it allows the body and the medicine to work together. And, my daughter, when she was little, she used to call it a God Band-Aid. If she got hurt, she'd say, "Mommy, I need a God Band-Aid." It's a really gentle form of healing and helping the body come into balance so it can do what it was designed to do. And I just love that about it. I really do. And like you said, it also lowers stress levels. And we all know the damage that stress can do to a body, especially when someone's ill. And, just the ability to give somebody the gift of feeling less stressed can really help them in their recovery and their healing. So you started doing Reiki several years before you got into the hospital setting, correct?
Correct. Right. I did first and second Reiki, and I volunteered at like a nursing home, and I was in there like twice a week. And what they allowed me to do there was be in a central room. They had to come to me. I wasn't, to visit them in their rooms. And I had several that came constantly every week, and they really enjoyed it.
That's great.
Those who are able. And that was good. And I volunteered once a month at a VA hospital, and they didn't want me to be with patients. But what I did do was the staff. And the staff, when you have the relaxation promoting that with the staff people, they treat the patients better too. So it's kind of like that upstream.
Yeah, absolutely.
Helping.
Absolutely. And giving back to, those that are on the front line, taking care of our veterans. I mean, what a noble thing to do.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. And I ended up encountering several vets and also Wounded Warriors organization. So that was pretty much my level 2 Reiki was doing that.
Now, how did you end up working for a hospital and doing Reiki?
Well, there was a 16-year-old girl who had brain cancer, and she was local, and the family discovered that her best pain relief was Reiki.
Oh, wow.
That's why I say, what about the, meds and stuff? But it was Reiki gave her a good peace. Well, anyway, she was at Children's in Pittsburgh, and I went there, and it was in Ronald McDonald House there, and went in and gave her some Reiki, and it just inspired me to say, I want to help cancer people. And it wasn't a week later that this opening happened at this other hospital in the oncology unit.
Divine intervention.
Yeah. So, and I didn't start it there. It was already in progress.
Okay.
And the other Reiki Master, it was 2 days a week. She was doing it there. But she had cancer then. So I kind of took over her position and helped. Even she was one of mine at the cancer center. But then it just kept getting more popular.
Yeah.
And the 2 days eventually became 5 days a week.
Wow.
It was. I discovered that some of the people enjoyed it enough that they would schedule their chemo treatments, when I was working.
Oh, so that's so great.
Yeah, so that's why it kind of expanded. So it wasn't this, not for my ego to get
right. It was because people were wanting to get the Reiki that you were giving because it was helping them. That's awesome. So you were actually giving it to patients as they were receiving their chemotherapy, correct?
Correct. The procedure there was, the oncology unit has several pods and lazy boy chairs, and there's, maybe 5 people getting chemo at one time. And it's a brightly lit, noisy environment, not typical of a Reiki that in your session where the rooms are dark and candlelit. But I would put headphones on them and played relaxing music. And kind of like try to get them away from what was happening with them.
Give them an escape.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But since I was on a hospital's turf, I didn't want to make Reiki so out there visually, like, because you sweep with your hands and things like that. And I didn't use symbols or any kind of thing that would make it seem odd. So I stayed on their head and shoulder areas and set intention of where the Reiki was and to go in their bodies. And I would stay opposite of where the IV racks were. I tried to stay out of everybody's way. I would be given Reiki and the alarms would be going off because there's like timers for the drips and stuff. And the nurse would come up and do what she did, but I would continue with the session. And they lasted about 30 minutes per person.
Oh, wow. And what were, I know that you had mentioned that when we talked last time that some of the nurses would even have you, if somebody was having blood pressure raised or whatever, would even have you come over. And can you talk a little bit about that?
Right. There was a few times that happened. It would because your blood pressure can't be over a certain number to get your treatment. So they wanted it lowered in the person and help them relax a bit. I had one person that she came in and was sitting in a chair and she was done. She said, "I'm not having one more needle in me." She was just frustrated with the whole thing. And Reiki helped her calm down and she was able to have her chemo treatment. And it's important to be regular on your treatment schedules.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, as I said, it was happening like 2 days a week there. And a turning point, I would say, was there was an oncology meeting on a Saturday, and they want me to give Reiki to the nursing staff and office staff, everybody that was in the oncology. And what happened the following week was nurses were pushing for Reiki.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't me trying to, walk up to everybody and say, "Would you like some Reiki?" It was nurses that were now saying, "You should try this." And that was a huge turning point, as you can imagine. That helped. And then that helped with the 5 days a week working. And there was also one of our nurses that I worked with there she had breast cancer. And she was a little on the borderline there on Reiki, so to speak, because you know how subtle it can be. But during her treatments and stuff, when I gave her Reiki, she became the biggest advocate for it. That's awesome. Said I helped her through this quite a bit. And, there's people that has told me that Reiki helped them through some of the darkest times. So
that has to be so rewarding.
It is.
So now, you had told me that you also went and got like a medical Reiki
Right.
certification. I'd not heard of that before you and I had talked. Can you talk a little bit about, why you decided to do that and what it is and how it's different from your traditional Reiki training?
Right. I was a Usui Reiki Master, which I believe you are as well.
Correct. Yes.
I also took Jikiden Reiki. That is a Japanese form of Reiki as well. My certificate is in kanji, in Japanese, which is kind of interesting. But anyway, I wanted to do medical Reiki because I was in the hospital setting, and it was created by Raven Keyes. She has written several books. She has since passed, but she had a course in Baltimore. So I went down there, and you get attuned. And what medical Reiki enables you to do is work in not only in cancer units, but in the OR, in pre-operation, the operating room, and then post-op. And you're trained on about the sterile fields and keeping that intact. And I've never done that because I've never pursued it because it would be, of course, up to the head surgeon there whether he allowed another person in the room, operating room, first of all. But I was busy with cancer unit, so I'm still open though to doing at least pre-op and post-op, at least help with the healings, because there's several studies that verify the positive effects of Reiki.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that. What would some of the benefits be for pre-op and post-op?
Well, of course, pre-op, it would help relieve any nervousness that would occur prior to being operated on. You are the main advocate for the patient, so to speak. Not that the hospital staff doesn't have compassion. It's just that you're sort of another number, so to speak, going into the OR.
Right.
And I have read cases like the head of surgery at New York Presby had a Reiki person in there, and they noticed the calmness that came over during surgery, and people weren't talking about what they were going to do after work today and all that stuff. They were, and how they listen to music, and but they remained focused on the patient at that time, and he thought it was great.
And that was actually having someone in the OR as they were conducting.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. The Reiki master is at the head of the table, and often in the way of the anesthesiologist, because that's where they like to park. So it's a position that you don't take lightly.
Correct. Yeah.
So and post-op, it helps with recovery times have been accelerated by having Reiki done. So, and that's been measured as well. So
when if someone say was going in for surgery, do you think they could request to have like their own Reiki person come in for post-op or pre-op if they were
Yes.
trained like you?
Yes, absolutely. Of course, this needs addressed prior with the head surgeon there that's going to do your surgery. So, but they may say, yeah, post and pre-op is okay, but not in the operating room. But but you're still helping,
right?
for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that if I was going in for surgery, I'd love to have somebody giving me Reiki either pre or post.
Right.
I think that would be great.
Yeah. Right.
So now you are no longer doing medical Reiki at a hospital, like on a regular basis. So
that's correct.
what are you doing now? You have a private practice, or?
Yes, I have space in my home where I do private practice, but I miss being in a hospital situation. So.
And you also do corporate events. And I know we're not going to talk about what corporate events you do, but talk to me about like how Reiki has been received at these corporate events and some of the, experiences people have had that you've had giving it at corporate events.
Right. Mostly they are a sampling, so to speak. Give them a taste of what Reiki feels like. It helps them relax. I mean, if you're in doing it at a corporation, so to speak, and that can help them with their focus. If they're in an office situation, they can. It relieves all that stress that comes naturally with a job.
But also, like some of the like, I know you and I are going to work a specific event that's coming up, and that's more of a thank you that this particular company is giving to its employees and their families, which I think is really awesome. And I know you said last year. We'll talk about how popular it was last year, because they have this particular company. They have this at a resort, and they get to do a lot of different activities. But you were pretty popular last year.
Yes, yeah. I was actually pretty overwhelmed, and there was a waiting list to have it done. And they asked, could I get another person in here? And so Linda, you're the helper, or you're not a helper. You're the second Reiki master in there. So
I'm honored to be part of that, and I think it's really exciting that companies recognize the benefits of Reiki and how they can reward and think of it as a reward for their employees and their families. I think that's really awesome, and I think a lot of people don't know what Reiki is. And then if they hear about it, the only experience or anything they know about it is, going into a place where, like you said, that there's a treatment room, there's a table, there's, quiet music and low lighting. And I think a lot of people think that's the only way you can, receive Reiki or get Reiki. And I thought it was really important to talk about the fact that you can give it anywhere. And it doesn't you don't have to do the full protocol to give someone the benefits of Reiki. And the fact that you were able to do it in a medical setting with people who really, really, truly needed it, while there's alarms going off and IVs in their arm. And, I really wanted to get that information out there, because I think, some people, if they even have heard of it, they kind of think of it as this mystical thing, or they equate it with having to get a massage and not being able, having to lay on a table, and it, yes, that is something that's done, and it's done frequently, but it can be done anywhere. It can, you can get the benefits of just doing a head and shoulders as much as you can doing a full body protocol, I believe.
Right.
I know one time I was doing, I was with a family member of a family member, and she was having incontinence issues, and she was explaining that that it's been keeping her up at night. She wasn't able to sleep, and she just wasn't making it to the bathroom when she did wake up. And I started giving her Reiki at the table, just standing behind her, just not even head, just shoulders. And that night, they called me the next day and said that night was the first night she had been able to, she didn't completely sleep through the night, but when she did wake up, she was able to make it to the bathroom. And so, I mean, it can help with a lot of things. It can help with, like you said, pain. It can help with, just a lot of different things that you just need to bring your body into alignment for. Have you, I know you mentioned the pain. Is there any experiences that you can talk about where, you had something like that happen, where it was, somebody really wasn't even expecting to get a benefit that they maybe got from it?
Yeah, there's several, and some of it is pretty out there, I must say, but that was their responses. At the nursing home, for instance, I used to do a woman who was paralyzed, and she had enough function in her hands to use a joystick, but not a whole lot much else. And she would get a Reiki session, and it helped her escape, where she was able to go swimming at the beach and enjoyed eating with a lunch with her deceased husband at the time. Mm-hmm. And she went boating, and she would go there all the time. Even though she's paralyzed, of course, but in her head, she was able to walk the boardwalk, and it just put her in a great place.
Oh, that's awesome.
I also had a cancer patient that was able to just leave, and she said she would go to places where the flowers were dancing like a Disney movie. That's how she described it. Or she said she'd be flying above snow-capped mountains, and she could reach down and grab the snow with her hands, and just different things. She was able to go sailing. She said, "Oh, I never went sailing before." So it was like, it wasn't like it was bringing up an old memory or anything. They were all different things, but it helped you relax. Reiki helped you relax enough that allows you. And if I would also say that, of course, Reiki affects your parasympathetic nervous system. Mm-hmm. So, if you have to want to explain it like in a hospital situation, mm-hmm. your immune system is at its highest level when you're relaxed. So that's where it kind of helps your own body repair.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Because when your immune system is unencumbered by the things that are stress or whatever that's causing it not to function, I mean, properly, it really is a hindrance. And just by eliminating the stress or whatever is causing that hindrance, it can benefit a person so much.
and also, like at this event, you and I are going to this corporate event,
Mm-hmm.
almost as a relaxation benefit for these people, but you'll see that so many of them will tell you about their aches and pains and stuff before the session. It's surprising how many people are living with discomfort all the time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think chronic pain. I read something that once that said that's the biggest epidemic in our country is chronic pain, and that's why there are so many people that turn to drugs or alcohol or pain pills or whatever to because they're just constantly in pain, and I think that goes hand in hand with the high stress levels that have been talked about in this country for years and years and years. And I think that one goes hand in hand with the other, to be honest. And so the more you can do to lower your stress levels, I think the less physical damage you do to your body.
Right. And that even goes to at the cancer center. Not only did I do the patients, but I did the caregivers that brought the patient in. They're often sitting right across from their chair, and giving them Reiki. A caregiver goes through a lot.
Yeah, they do.
They really go through. They have their own set of issues and problems. So I was permitted to give anyone there Reiki, staff, nurses, caregivers, and the patients.
Well, and I think that's a really important thing to bring up is the caregivers, because I think as a society, especially women, are taught that we have to power through and taking care of ourselves is selfish. And I think that, it took me many years to realize that if I don't take care of myself, I can't take care of others, because eventually I'm going to burn out or I'm going to get sick. And so I think it's really important for caregivers to realize that by taking some time to care for themselves, whether it's get Reiki or do some meditation or whatever can bring them some stress relief and some joy, even, taking an arts and class, doing arts and crafts or whatever their thing is, taking a walk and in nature, just anything to care for themselves will help them be a better caregiver to those that they love.
Right. What's that saying? You can't pour from an empty pitcher.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to be able to take care of yourself. Who knows what's going on with their own lives?
Right.
If you're taking care of someone else and trying to do your own life.
Right. So. Absolutely. One of the things I wanted to talk to you, I wanted to change gears a tiny bit, is for the Reiki practitioners out there, or there's a lot of people that are tuned to Reiki and just have gotten it because they don't necessarily want to do it as a business, but they just want to be able to give it to friends and family, give it to themselves. I mean, I personally give myself Reiki every night when I go to bed. It helps me sleep so much. But there are a lot of people out there that they maybe want to, give to others, but not, do something like in a nursing home or a VA. Like, you volunteered those places before you actually, started doing this as a professional. What would you say to somebody like that? How should they approach, say, a nursing home or someplace like that, to volunteer to give patients Reiki?
Right. Well, it's generally said in the Reiki circles and Usui Reiki that you need to be at least a level 2 to do others.
Mm-hmm.
Reiki 1 is required, or what you'd like to do for self Reiki and family, so to speak. But to go out there, you should be level 2. And I agree with that. And I would seek out. I mean, I'm saying this like I had Reiki sort of naturally, so to speak. I could hold my hands close together and feel this magnetic thing happening. My hands, when they were like half an inch apart, I could feel it felt like repelling magnets, so to speak. How they slip and slide. And I grew up thinking, well, thinking everyone had that, and there was no name for it. It was just something that was part of me. And one day I was years and years ago, I was hearing on the radio while driving about Reiki, and they were talking about your hands feeling like, if you can feel that energy between them. And I'm like, oh, that's it. I was like, is that what that's called? So that's what started me, with Reiki. And it was, it became a journey and a lifestyle, actually. I do self Reiki every morning when I meditate. It's part of that whole a routine. But you feel so good doing it.
Yeah.
It's just that natural benefits.
Yeah, it just puts me right to sleep. I do it every night when I lay down in bed. I put my hands on myself and I just turn on and I go to sleep so quickly. And actually one of the reasons that I got attuned was I had one of my best friends. She had gone and gotten her level 1, and she said, "Can I practice on you?" And I said, "Sure." And I just was so blown away by it. And I just had a baby a couple months prior, my second child, and I was incredibly stressed due to being a new mom with a baby with a heart condition and some family things that were happening at the time. And I just thought, I need to learn this just for me and to be able to, do it for my children. And I, was attuned, and, I had been up to that point, I had been having trouble sleeping because of all the stress. And I will tell you, with the exception of menopause, which is a whole other reason you can't sleep, physical reason you can't sleep, with the exception of menopause, I rarely had trouble sleeping after that. And if once I turned my Reiki on, I could go to sleep. There were times where I forget, oh, wait, I need to turn my Reiki on. I need, that'll help me sleep. But that was 2002 was when I got my first attunement. And I'm so incredibly grateful that I did, because it helped me so much. If nothing else, just with the sleeping. I mean, because if you don't sleep, if you can't get a good restful sleep, I mean, that affects your immune system, it affects your mood, it affects so many things. So yeah, I'm I highly recommend it to people, whether you get attuned yourself to give self Reiki, you get Reiki from a practitioner. It's really, really beneficial, and can help you in so many ways.
Right. I wanted to point out too that several nurses, when they're in training, they have learned something called therapeutic touch.
Okay.
And that's really a form of Reiki, that energy exchange. But it's not, a full-blown course. It's
Right.
pretty much a mention in their studies.
Right. Well, and the Reiki energy is a little different though than therapeutic touch, right? It's the type of energy that you tap into. Excuse me.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's that's really great that they're training the nurses to do the therapeutic touch. And is there, other than it being what are some of the other differences other than it being a slightly different type of energy?
Yeah, I'm not very well versed in all the different types. I know it's called different things throughout the world.
Right.
Chi and Ki. And
oh yeah, no, I meant as far as like how therapeutic touch, as far as like the like, do they have different hand placements? Do they have other than the type of energy? Like, do you know anything about like what they do differently than we do, for example?
I do not know what they do.
But that says a lot that the Western medicine is now recognizing the benefits of Reiki and therapeutic touch. I think that's really important.
It is. I always think of Reiki as being there first, and then Western medicine kind of booted it out because they wanted to focus on the symptoms and the drugs and all that. But it's coming back and being accepted again.
Right. Well, Mark, if someone wanted to get a session with you, or even talk to you about hiring you to possibly, come in to do pre-op or post-op, work if they're having surgery, or, anything along those lines, or hire you for a corporate event, how should they get in touch with you?
Yeah, the best way is through email, and that would be reelreiki@gmail.com. And reel is REELREIKI, reelreiki@gmail.com.
Okay. Do you have a social media page or a website or anything like that they should be aware of?
I currently do not.
Okay.
I've been pretty low-keyed, actually.
Well, and you offer distance Reiki services as well, correct?
I have not. No,
you have not. Okay,
I have not.
Okay,
I have done it, but it's not like I have pushed on it, so to speak, promoted it. See what happened was, I was in all these Reiki circles, so to speak, in the beginning, and then when I went into the hospital situation, that was my whole focus, and I kind of lost touch with everyone around and promoting anything that I did myself. I was like focused.
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
But now,
but now, now you're open to other things, and
that's right.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I really want to thank you for coming on my podcast, and I look forward to working with you next month. And I appreciate you very, very much. I think it's going to be a really good time, and I'm looking forward to helping a lot of people. So, and hopefully the information that we gave here today will also help a lot of people. So, thank you so very much. And we will talk soon.
Very good. It's been my pleasure. Stay in touch, huh?
I will. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of Your Body, Mind, and Spirit. For information about upcoming guests or transcripts of this and other episodes, visit yourbodymindandspirit.com. The content presented on Your Body, Mind, and Spirit, including interviews, opinions, experiences, and information shared by guests and hosts, is intended solely for educational and informational purposes. It is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or condition, nor should it be considered a substitute for professional medical, psychological, legal, financial, or other professional advice. The views expressed by guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of the host or producers. Listeners should consult with their physician or other qualified professionals regarding any specific concerns or before making changes to their health, wellness, diet, treatment, or lifestyle practices.